Cleetus McFarland almost wrecked his brand new race car during a test session, and the way he saved it has the entire NASCAR world talking right now. So here's the deal. Garrett Mitchell, the guy most people know as Cleetus McFarland, spent 10 straight hours driving a NASCAR race car around one of the toughest tracks in the country. And right when everyone thought he was about to crash again, he pulled off a save that even his biggest critics had to respect. But before we get into that moment, you need to understand why this whole thing is such a big deal. Cleetus McFarland is a YouTuber. He has over 4.5 million subscribers. His whole thing is cars. He builds them, races them, and films it all. He even owns his own racetrack in Florida called the Freedom Factory. The guy lives and breathes motorsports. Over the last couple of years, Cleetus went from making YouTube videos to actually racing in real NASCAR events. He started in the ARCA Menard Series in 2025, driving for Rhett Jones Racing. In 5 ARCA starts, he grabbed 2 top 10 finishes, 10th at Talladega and 9th at Charlotte. Not bad for a guy who came from the internet. He also had a close friendship with the late Greg Biffle, a NASCAR legend who became his mentor. Biffle tragically passed away along with his family in a plane crash in December 2025. Cleetus called their time together some of the greatest moments of his life. Biffle had been helping him chase his dream of one day racing in the Daytona 500. Then came February 2026. Cleetus got approved to make his Nascar Truck Series debut at Daytona. But before the race, he had to pass a test at Rockingham Speedway. He crashed during that test. NASCAR still approved him anyway. At Daytona, things went bad fast. Cleetus lost control of his truck all by himself just 5 or 6 laps in. He hit the inside wall, and his day was over. He finished 37th. He bounced back with an 11th place finish in the ARCA race that same weekend, but the truck race was the one everybody remembered. And the NASCAR world had a lot to say. Denny Hamlin talked about it on his podcast and said he knew before the race started that it was not going to end well. He said Cleetus never once looked in control. Freddie Kraft, Bubba Wallace's spotter, called out NASCAR's approval process on social media: crash at the Rockingham truck test, crash lap 5 of your only truck start. Good enough for me. Approved. He added that he does not blame Cleetus, anyone would jump at the chance. Then, just days later, Richard Childress Racing, one of the biggest teams in NASCAR, announced a 2-year deal with Cleetus McFarland. 3 races a year in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He would drive the number 33 Tommy's Express Chevrolet alongside Jesse Love, the defending champion, and Austin Hill. His first race was set for April 4th at Rockingham. Cleetus called it a dream come true and said he was grateful to learn under the leadership of Richard Childress and his team. But oh man, did this news make people angry. Mark Martin, a NASCAR legend, said qualifying laps do not prove a driver is ready. He warned that every driver Cleetus faces at Rockingham has way more experience and that he would be at a huge disadvantage. Martin said, "The whole thing scares me to death." Kyle Busch, who is actually Cleetus' teammate through RCR, took a shot at him too. He pointed out his own son Brexton has run more races than Cleetus has. Brad Keselowski said he would rip that thing up and start over when talking about NASCAR's approval process. But he also said he does not blame a guy like Cleetus for wanting in. The O'Reilly series is now on national TV on the CW, and the ratings are huge. Why would anyone not want to be part of that? Kenny Wallace went further with a safety concern. He said Cleetus could hurt somebody at Rockingham because the track is so demanding. The throttle control you need there, combined with a tricky part called the dogleg, makes it one of the hardest places to race. Wallace said Cleetus' fame is what makes this story so big. If some unknown driver was doing the same thing, nobody would care. Ken Schrader said flat out that Cleetus has no business being approved for the race and called the decision bull. But even Schrader admitted he likes watching Cleetus content and understands why NASCAR wants him there. More eyes means more ticket sales. Kyle Petty said, Don't come here if all you are is an internet sensation, because you've got no place on a racetrack with those guys. Tommy Baldwin from Rickware Racing said Cleetus is hurting himself by moving up too fast and does not even know the difference between a pro late model and a super late model. So with all that noise surrounding him, Cleetus showed up at Rockingham for a massive test session with his RCR team. And what he did surprised a lot of people. He drove for 10 hours straight. He burned through 5 sets of tires. And when it was done, he posted on social media saying, "Had the greatest day of racing in my entire life yesterday. Learned so much in 10 hours of driving, more than I could have imagined. RCR has an incredible team of people. We went through 5 sets of tires, and there's not a scratch on my new car. But it was not all smooth. About 70 laps into one tire run, Cleetus lost the rear of his car coming through a corner. The car snapped loose, and it looked like he was about to spin into the wall. This was the moment his critics were waiting for. Except he caught it. He saved it. He kept the car off the wall and kept going. A clip of the save was posted online, and fans went crazy. One fan wrote, "I can't lie, that's a solid save." Another said, "Pretty good save, all things considered. Much better than overcorrecting and going head-on into the wall." And one fan pointed out the important detail, he was on his 70th lap on that set of tier.